Hi, I just wanted to talk a little bit about Restore Engine Lubricant. Back in the early 90s, I had a friend that had a LX Mustang, 5-liter Mustang. Noticed one day on the passenger side that the exhaust was throwing a little bit of smoke, blue smoke. Usually that's oil burning. For those of you that know a little bit about a motor, it can be coming through the valve seats. Most of the time it usually is the rings worn for the pistons, as you can see on their website. The picture here, it's an illustration. I was skeptical about this Restore. I'd heard stuff about it. We went ahead and we put it in the Mustang. We changed the oil. A lot of people talking about that it doesn't work are putting this Restore in with synthetic oil. Kind of goes against what you're doing. If you're coating the engine with a synthetic lubricant, you are actually protecting the metal from anything to stick to it properly. Yeah, I know regular engine oil also is a lubricant, but this stuff seems to work through standard engine oil, and I've had great luck running it with a little heavier grade oil so it'll stick to the walls a little better. We went ahead being skeptical and threw it into the 5-liter Mustang and drove it approximately 500 miles like they said, and we saw smoke still coming out, and then all of a sudden it came to a stop. We had done a compression check prior to putting this Restore in. On cylinder 7 and 8 the compression was down. We then went ahead, put the Restore in like I said, and rolled 500 miles, and it stopped. We figured, I don't know, maybe it's the heavier engine oil, because that's a little bit of a secret, because if it's heavier engine oil it's not going to seep past the rings as easily because it's thicker, blah blah blah. But if that was the case with the thicker oil, it probably would have stopped it immediately from smoking, which it didn't. So the thicker oil was not doing the job. It was the Restore that eventually filled in the scratches on the cylinder wall, and obviously it was the rings. We did a compression check afterwards and all compression was back up. I know a lot of people have had bad experiences with this. I've heard all kinds of things, from oil filters being clogged, which I don't understand unless you are the type of person that just added this to old engine oil and you had so much crap in your filter already. I lost no oil pressure with his car, nothing. Well, later this year I have a 93 Mustang that is kept very well. I often put it in shows and display it and everything else. One day I had tried, I'm not saying anything bad about Duralube, I had put Duralube in the car figuring it's getting close to 100,000 miles, I better run something, you know, with some extra lubricant. Well, believe it or not, 3 or 4 months after using Duralube, my car started to smoke also. I didn't notice it at first. A friend of mine had brought it to my attention, and slowly it got worse, fast. So I changed the oil, and I was still smoking really bad. I knew something had failed, and at that point I didn't know whether I broke a ring, excessive engine wear. I didn't know what was going on. I wasn't sure if it wasn't just the valve seats dried up and hardened and was leaking. So again, I went and used 20W50. I threw it in with this engine Restore, and I think a lot of people don't realize this engine Restore has small particles in it. It does settle at the bottom of the can. So when you open this can, make sure to stir up everything, shake the can well, and when you do dump it out and put it into the engine, look into the can. If you see a lot of that residue down there, as you're putting new oil in on your oil change, put some of your oil into the can and stir that stuff up and get it liquefied and get it into the engine. Maybe for some people it doesn't work. I've had 2 successful runs with it. My car's got over 100,000 miles, perfect compression, and it doesn't smoke anymore, and it's been over a year now. For those of you that are desperate, I mean, you've really got nothing to lose, because as many of you know, it can go from a friend helping you out, $1,500 short block, long block, whatever, up to $10,000, $12,000 if you want to replace an entire motor and everything. Throw this stuff in if your car is smoking a little bit. Give it its time to do its thing, about 500 miles. And I'll tell you, I've had great success with it. I love it. You're talking about a $6 can. For those of the people that it didn't work. I'm sure there are cases where the rings were so badly worn there was nothing going to save it. But if your car's just started to smoke and you're starting to notice a little bit of a rough idle, chances are you're losing compression and you've got a worn ring. This stuff does work. I have tried it. I'm sure there's some people that'll swear it doesn't work, and like anything, if something's worn beyond capacity, well, you're not going to make a miracle in a can. I agree 100%. But for those of you that have got a car, you can't afford to rebuild it, you just started noticing it's smoking, or even if it's been smoking for a while, give it a shot. What do you got to lose? My oil pressure did not go down like some people claim. My filter did not clog up. I didn't have all these issues that they're referring to. For the some people that they said it didn't work, I kind of questioned, did they bother at all to get all the elements out of the can into the motor? Because when I shook it up well, and when I poured it in, these things sitting on the shelf, those particles are going to settle. But this is such a ground up chemical, whatever they're using. I've been told everything from copper to everything else. Whatever it is, it passes through the oil filter, and it does not clog it. I would say change the oil, make sure you have a brand new filter when you do this. Use a little heavier weight oil. Try not to use synthetic. Just let a regular oil handle this job, and I think you'll be impressed with it. I'm just throwing my 2 cents only because hey, if I'm saving thousands of dollars and I get to save a car that I really like, I'm sure most of you would agree. You know, whether it works or whether it doesn't, it worked for me, and I'm telling you from first-hand experience. And it's just not, oh, I'm looking at the exhaust and I see no smoke. We did compression checks, and that tells a story. If I had put this treatment in and brought it to a mechanic and had him do a compression check just for verification, which if I knew this was going to happen, I probably would have videoed the whole process. That would have proved it. I basically just did it out of pretense of, I wonder if this stuff's going to work. It does work. Give it a shot. And I guess that's my 2 cents. But like I said, there's going to be a lot of people that disagree with this. But for those of you younger guys and some of us older guys that can't afford to rebuild an engine and wish to God they had something to at least try, give this a try. If it doesn't work, it'd be a rare situation. But if it doesn't work, it's just due to the fact that your car is just beyond help. I mean, there are some people that abuse their cars beyond belief, but if you take care of your car, you just started noticing it started smoking, give this a shot. Throw me some input on it. I mean, if you notice anything that it works or anything, I'm sure some of you out there have used this stuff and you've had the same results. They've been in business for a long time. If this was snake oil like everybody refers to, they wouldn't be in business. Alright guys, well thanks, and thanks for watching the video, and I hope it helps some of you guys out there with a little bit of smoke coming from your vehicle, and we'll talk to you later.